All right, welcome to the end FGM Live. This is Jeremiah Kipainoi once again. This week we start off with county, Tana River, of course, with great panelists. I hope you had a good weekend. Remember, today we'll be live for about 45 minutes, and when we will be kicking off, we'll be joined by three of our panelists today, all from Tana River, talking about different issues ranging from the medical field, the political scene, as well as how to deal with FGM and how the role of survivors also plays as a key role basically in ending FGM. So welcome to this show today. Really glad to have you here. And we're just going to go straight into what FGM is, the statistics, the data. But before we do that, remember that you can always join in via Twitter, on Facebook, and as well as on YouTube, whichever suits you, and the information is on the poster as shown or as communicated earlier. You can also find that in our channels. We'll be hosting Sadia Hussein from Tana River. Sadia is from Daya Women Group. She's the coordinator. Osman Eid, a clinical officer, and Maur Abdallah, who is a political leader. They're just going to tell us who exactly they are, who they represent in that regard. But small statistics before we start off. First of all, we are in Tana River, and Tana River is predominantly actually occupied by the Somali speakers. Of course, there are other communities, but we're going to talk about that. All right, so we have different guests, and we are still going to try to connect them as we go on. But in Tana River, there are different communities living there. We have the Somalis occupying the bigger space, I'd say the bigger chunk, and we know that also we have the Pokomo speakers in that county. Before we go there, just a few statistics about FGM worldwide. 200 million women and girls living today have undergone, up to date have undergone FGM, and it's practiced in approximately 31 countries. Sudan is the latest country to illegalize FGM. In Kenya, the prevalence is 21%, which means that 1 out of every 5 women or girls have been cut. And 7 out of 10 girls below the age of 14 years have been cut by a traditional cutter. Just in case you're wondering what the scope is in that regard. Tana River, as we had said, 94% prevalence of FGM, highest in Kenya. And economic activity among the pastoralists in that county is mostly nomadic pastoralism, so they depend on animals. It's a very big county in that regard. So we'll be talking about different things, and we will just expound more. But before then, we'll just introduce our team. We have Sadia as well as Osman, and we will just be introducing them right away. Remember to tweet and communicate with us on this chat, and we will be able to run together. Welcome to the show. You are now live, Sadia Hussein, as well as Mr. Osman. Asante sana, karibu sana. We do appreciate having you here today. Just a small background about yourselves. I know I saw a touching tweet by Sadia. She spoke about Osman a little bit on Twitter. So a small background about you and what you have done about FGM in general. Osman. I think you're muted, Osman. All right, we can't hear Osman as now. I will just go straight to Sadia, and then we'll come back to Osman once we are able to hear him. Sadia, just a small background about yourself and also Daya, and what scope you cover in Tana River as well.
My name is Sadia Hussein, the coordinator for Daya Women Group. I'm a survivor of FGM, and cover the larger Tana River County.
Yeah.
So we are affected survivors. We say yes, FGM can to us, but not to our daughters. So those women decided to really protect other girls from falling victims. That's why it initiated the
Okay.
we don't only talk about FGM, we do women's rights, like preventing child marriage, teenage pregnancy, rape and defilement, and also doing women empowerment. Because we believe if women are empowered, harmful practices will end. You know, when we talk about female genital mutilation, there are so many things attached to female genital mutilation. The reasons behind one of them is just a patriarchal thing that is, if women are empowered, can really do away with it.
Okay.
So, Naya Women Dream Team survival-led movement to cover the entire county due to lack of resources. Sometimes our hands are tied.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sadia. Your audio is also a little bit, but we just work on fixing that. Short break. We'll add our political leader as well, and then when we come back, we will be having this conversation more candidly. I can see your conversations already streaming on the live stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Prince Lemayan says, "This is very good work you are doing. Be blessed." Thank you very much. Keep the comments coming, and we will read them as they come. All right, short break. When we come back, we'll just have the whole team ready to run and roll. This is the end of FGM Live. Remember, it's produced by Tony Mwebia and Antonia Sophia, and it runs from Monday to Thursday, and on Friday we have the review. All right, stay tuned, and when you come back, we'll be starting this show off officially.
Tune in to the End FGM Live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, we're back to the end of GM Live. This is Jeremiah Kipainoi, and now we are full house. Thank you very much for joining us. A little technical hitch, but we are back, and that's all that matters. Thank you very much for joining us. Just going to go straight to the point. Tana River County, we have Sadia Hussein on my left, as well as Osman on my top left, and Maur as well. Thank you very much for joining me today on the end of GM Live. We really do appreciate having you. Tana River is a vast county, so we have lots of things to talk about today. Without wasting time, we'll just go on to introduce Bwana Maur is a political leader. Just a little bit about himself. When did you begin talking about FGM? You are a political leader. On what aspect are you a political leader as well? Karibu.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to be hosted on this program, a noble program of viewers. Well, my first encounter with the matters to do with the FGM, particularly in Tana River County, which has the prevalence for the practice. And of course, having been born and grown up in the urban centers in the cities, the whole thing is not very, very common. So, but getting back to the rural home, that's where we end up coming in contact with this kind of practice. So my indulgence, my involvement has been so much to do with the environment within Tana River County, where we have some of us practicing the scourge while others are abstaining from it.
All right. So you're a political leader. On what aspect do you represent Tana River as a political leader?
Well, as at the moment, my political tag is on activism, having been a candidate of Tana River in 2017 concluded elections. Meanwhile, I remain the leader of Chama cha Uzalendo, and it is in that capacity that I find myself indulging with the public as a community leader.
All right. Thank you very much for that. We had introduced Sadi as well as Osman, so we just go straight to the point. We have different communities in Tana River. Tana River is vast, as we had said, and we also have the Pokoma, among other communities that live in that county. As well, we have the Somalis, with whom mostly have the highest prevalence here in Kenya, and we're going to be talking about FGM in that regard. Statistics are at 94%. It's very high. Starting off from Sadia Hussein, how is it like working in Tana River against FGM? We know that there are representatives from different communities, probably even passing bills in the counties, in the county level sometimes. Needs to be debated. How is it like trying to get resources as well, dealing with FGM in Tana River? Sadi.
Okay. To begin with, Tana River, community that practice here. FGM in Tana River.
We can hardly hear you, Sadia. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. From very far. I don't know if you would want to lift your phone.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can now hear you, Sadia. Thank you.
Number one, we have the Orma community, we have the Warde community, we have the Nyasa community, we have the Luana community, and the Wata community that are practicing FGM. So now we have the Pokomo community where now Mheshimiwa Maur Abdullah comes from, and all despite them being Muslims. So when we talk now about the prevalences, all these communities practice FGM, like almost over 90%.
All right.
All the communities practice over 90%. Munyaya, Wailuna, and Wata are minority communities that practice FGM.
So we have a small challenge with the sound. Maybe just try to fix that as soon as we can. But maybe asking Mheshimiwa to mute his microphone, and then maybe you'll be in a better position. All right, go on, Sadia. Sorry for that small hitch. All right, go on, Sadia.
I go on?
Yes.
Now, when it comes and now we need to have zero FGM. And all of them don't speak the same language.
All right.
Because we have the Somali speaking language, we have Oromo and Waka, and they're a little bit similar to brothers.
All right.
We have Luana, what Luana will now speak another different language altogether.
All right. All right, Sadia, I'll cut it short just because of the glitches that we're having. A short break. When we come back, we'll have fixed that, and then we'll just have a smoother show. Just remember that this is the NFGM Live, straight from Tana River. As we always say, sometimes you have lots of challenges in regarding to connection as well. We'll be back in a few. Remember to keep on commenting, and we will try to make it as smooth as possible. Stay tuned.
Tune in to the NFGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at NFGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, we are back once again. Sorry for that technical glitch. We are back. Now we lost our political leader, but we'll try as much as possible to be able to have him back to the show. Straight to our guests today, we have Osman, who is a clinical officer, as well as Sadia Hussein, who is the coordinator, DIA Women's Group, very vocal in the anti-FGM campaign. So just bringing them straight to the screen and going straight to the point. So Sadia, we're talking about FGM in Tana River, and it's a metropolitan county. If you have to speak about the communities that live there, and you're just giving us a small background so that if you'd like to know what Tana River is like in regards to FGM, then you can have a small picture. So please, very briefly, give us the context. Where are we in regards to FGM in Tana River? Is there even a policy also in the county?
Okay, when it comes to Tana River County, we have 5 communities that are practicing FGM, and 3 all speaking similar languages, but the dialects are different and some words are totally different. And that's Orma, Orma, Munyaya, and Wata. Munyaya and Wata are minority communities, and Orma is another community in Tana. So we have the Warde, the Somali-speaking community, and we have now the Wailwana. Wailwana also speaks another different language altogether. So when we talk about FGM in Tana River County, all those communities practice above 90%.
All right.
When it comes to now, when the person we have, the medic, comes from the major community, that's the Orma community. Mm-hmm. We have another major community, that's the Bokomo, and they do not practice FGM, despite them being Muslims as well. That's where now Meshimiwa comes from.
Right.
Comes from a Muslim community, that's the Bokomo, but they don't practice FGM at all. So when it comes to dealing with the FGM, you start telling them we don't have to practice FGM, and they start challenging that it's a religious requirement. Now the question comes in, why are the Pokomos also Muslims? They're not practicing FGM at all. Mm-hmm. So again, another issue is that Tana River is very vast. Tana River is very vast, and all these practicing communities live in different sides of the county, from Balambala to Kipainoi, and you will be shocked. And I think, Jeremiah, we went to you with a place where we were unable to even reach the place because of the road passage and all that. Oh my goodness.
It's okay. It's okay, Sadia. I think we'll just switch on to Osman. Osman, you are a medical practitioner, and we've been talking about medical practitioners in the past weeks. We were in Kisik and Nyamira County, where medical practitioners are actually the ones who are practicing FGM most in those counties. How is it like in Tana River? Do you have a problem of medicalization of FGM?
Okay. Thank you, Jeremiah, for the live show. I appreciate what you have been doing. And I'm pleased today to have this show because as much as we are medical practitioners, we have been to contact with patients or mostly with clients who are coming to our places. And actually during when they are coming for the services. I've been practicing for almost 7 years. And this medical practice really is concerned with when it's clinical. But we have some complications. We have been called to review patients. And actually, most of the complications arises from FGM or the CAT. As Sadia have told you, that's exactly the issues we have. And usually when we have such cases, as a medic, and I know I come from the same community, and tell them the effect, and tell them to their faces that this what's happening to you, and this is because of the FGM. So most of the time, I usually meet them and tell them exactly those who have been affected. you just say that from Yamina, there are some people are practicing FGM.
Yeah.
Actually, medical field is, and that's what they have been taught.
Yeah.
It's a version being of the practice.
Yeah.
Because of the money. You know, in Kenya nowadays, people are doing everything for money.
Yeah.
As much as those who are practicing the FGM and doing it themselves, I don't think those people are actually, I call them, they are quacks.
Yeah.
You know, quacks is a medical practice in the field, but it does what exactly a medical can do because of out of experience or maybe he has done through a shoddy way. So for those who are practicing, if they can hear me, they are quacks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can ask for their registration numbers. Those people are not medical medical health workers.
Yeah,
so on my side,
but in places like Kisii, for example, we've had reports of very high levels of medicalization, and it's basically people who are doing it as a side job, but in secret as well. It's very culturally ingrained, I think, as well. So sometimes medical practitioners actually who have registration numbers that are valid practice this as well. Maybe it doesn't have. Have you first of all have you heard about that issue in Tana River? Before you proceed.
I never disclose such cases. I think few who have interacted, both the midwives, the nurses, and the clinical officers who have interacted with them, there's no one who has ever done that. Actually, they are helping to reduce the FGM. And I advise.
All right. Quick question to you. So we were talking with a friend of mine also from Tana River, and he was speaking about sometimes the medics do not tell these women and girls, especially when they come to deliver, or probably when they come for medical checkups, that actually the complications that arise either during birth or even post is because of FGM. Is it something that is it a conversation that you've had as medical practitioners in that county in regards to FGM and medical practitioners?
I think what my colleague has said is it's not the matter, but majority of the clients who came to our facility, it's true, they have been cut, and they have complications. They have the complications.
Yeah.
Advise them on how to handle themselves, and also tell them the effects, and then advise them on to avoid the cut for the future generation.
Yeah.
So, I think out of the 10 patients you see them, I think 5 or 6 they're all cut. But these are the old generation. But the new generation, I think that nowadays they have reduced as Sadi has put.
Yeah.
Some few elements of FGM we have seen from different communities, but some practicing.
All right.
So, I get to your question.
Yeah.
There are some clients who came with complications.
Yeah.
Mostly the complications usually even before pregnancies. Usually have those who have, for example, infections. We call them PID, the pelvic inflammatory diseases, caused by the cat. Mm-hmm. So even before pregnancy, just usually get them. So before delivery and even after delivery. But the worst experience is during delivery, which is actually, I don't want even to remember some of them.
Right.
Because the patients have no problem, but the problem is because by the FGM. You can see you don't know what you want to do. I think that moment I go and kill, or they go and even cut the head of the people who did this FGM.
All right.
So on our side, in with patients, we have been into contact with patients, and actually it's very painful, and we don't want even to have such patients to come to our facilities. But if they come and get the assistance from us, so we usually help them.
All right.
Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much for that. Sorry for the viewer. We are not able to see Osman very clearly. Of course, we were talking about also connectivity issues. So thank you very much as well for joining us. We really do appreciate. Just a quick overview into the comments section. Thank you very much for joining us, Matilda Timpian, Moni Queen Gitao, and she says connected. Catherine Tito Motian says, good to see you, Sadia, and well done for the good job you're doing back there. Following from Narok. And Kaji, Dr. Luke says, watching and following. Please keep the comments coming, and we will read them as they come. Remember that you are able to leave from you are able to tune in from YouTube, Twitter, as well as on Facebook. Prince Lemayan on YouTube says, "This is very good work you're doing. Be blessed." As well as K Beth, who says, "Louder audio from Sadia. She's now okay." As well as Prince Lemayan says again, "Volleying from Kitengela town, Kajiado County." Keep the comments coming, the questions coming too, and we will be going live in a more stable way. Thank you very much again for joining us. Sadia, I know you've been very passionate and very active in the anti-FGM campaign in Tana River. Tana River is vast, we understand. I've been there, and you've talked about the challenges that you face. I've experienced some. We are now talking about how to end FGM in a county with mixed legislators. So if you speak about passing policies, then maybe, is it something that's viable in Tana River? Is there any political support?
Yeah, in Tana River, at least I've managed to engage the political leaders, the religious leaders, and also traditional leaders. So when it comes to political leaders, there is a good political will to end FGM. Our senator talked about it. Our women reps, she talked about it. We have a number of MCAs who talked about it. Even our governor spoke about it. So when it comes to speaking about FGM, they do speak about it. Now, what I need is making the law, FGM, now making it now for the MCAs to review the law and make it now, because we need to own the law. So decentralization is something that is lacking. Again, one big thing is that the doctor says very brief about what happens to our women in South. When we talk about the vastness alone tells you a lot, and you experience some of the challenges. Now let me give you now the physical challenges women face during delivery. The hospital itself, from where even the doctor comes from, it's almost 100 kilometers from the hospital.
Over 100 or 300, sorry.
Okay, come up again.
Say that again. We lost you a little bit.
Okay, I'm trying to say, like, we have a challenge when it comes to access medical services. Because, like he said, he has been helping, and I hope he will share his story later. And he has witnessed how girls have been cut. He also helped some of the survivors during delivery. So he understands what we go through during delivery as survivors. So now, in that situation, whereby women are struggling to give back at home, and by the way, giving back for our communities is different when you are being taken to hospital.
Yeah.
At home, you just hang on a rope, they hold you up. Now you have to bend your legs, struggle to push the child from top, and a woman is lying in between your legs to hold the child. So it's 100% you to do the job. And at the hospital, they help you. They want to see, is the baby breathing enough? There is a lot of equipment at the hospital that if your labor is slow, they add or increase the labor. But at home, you just struggle until maybe you are done, you are tired or something. So sometimes that's when now they go for the doctor to come and assist them, when now they cannot do anything else at that time. So when we talk about Tana River and the women now accessing the hospitals, imagine even death is normalized in our communities. A woman can be taken through a motorbike because there is no other means of taking her to the hospital. She dies in between before even reaching the hospital. No one reports that. No one reports when the woman dies at home. When now it comes to the hospital, even the hospitals, there are referrals because even our hospital here,
Yeah.
the county referral hospital we are talking about, does not have enough equipment for the women. So most of the time, the women who are referred are our pushaites,
Yeah.
those who practice FGM.
And we talked about that, Sadia, because also while doing my research, I realized that there is also a very high percentage of women delivering through the cesarean section.
Okay, now I was coming to that point. When it comes to referrals, we are the majority.
Yeah.
I hope we can get the statistics one day and share with everyone else across the world.
Yeah.
That those women who are always referred when it comes to delivery to other hospitals are those who are practicing FGM.
Yeah.
Again, when they die in between before even reaching the hospital,
Yeah.
they feel this is her day has reached and it's a normal death. So
Yeah.
our community normalized even death,
Yeah.
leave alone FGM. So now when it comes to cesarean, some women will tell you, okay, don't go for cesarean easily. In fact, they feel like if you deliver through cesarean, you can no longer give birth as many children as they want. So they must hold you. But at hospital, they will give you that option when they feel like you are completely sick and you cannot push the baby anymore.
Yeah.
The baby is tired and the mother is tired. So they try to now save one of them or both. But at home, you will be left to die, my friend.
Yeah.
Again, another issue. Like last month,
Yeah.
there was a woman who delivered at the hospital. She had episiotomy, not cesarean. So the doctor was to come now and sew her up. She was asking people, why am I sewn up again? She didn't understand what is the thread and the needle for, because she thought she has finished now giving birth. And she was cut now both sides. You can imagine the pain of now giving birth and then a doctor coming to sew you up again. Another issue that happened is that there was another woman from non-practicing community. Before even going to the bed, she delivered on the floor. She was waiting for now the nurse to now first go and help the one who has delivered on the floor, then come back to sew her up. That's when she got the time to ask the question.
Yeah.
But what am I waiting for? And the mothers were telling her, lazima ushonwe. Like
Yeah. You have to be.
the doctor must sew you up.
And that's because of FGM.
These are the traumas our women go through,
Yeah.
but no one
Speaks
wants
about
to
it.
speak them.
Yeah.
We feel it's normal and they endure all this pain. And some of them, in fact, let me tell you, the pain itself is when now you lose the child or you end up having fistula. That's when now the real pain starts.
Yeah.
So I think Dr. will share with us more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sadia. I didn't want to cut you short because that's very important background information in regards to just the allocation of resources as well, and also the vastness and also culture coming into this conversation. We'll just go for a short break, try adding our political leader, and when we come back, we'll be able to have this conversation hopefully with him as well. Remember that we are live from 5:30 to around 6:15, maybe extend because of the hitches that we've had, but we'll try as much as possible to bring this to a close as soon as we can. Stay tuned. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi. This show is produced by Mwebia and Antonia Sophia.
Tune in to the FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
political aspect.
All right, we are back. Thank you very much for staying tuned in. We are now joined by our political leader. He's from a non-practicing community, still a Muslim as well. So we're going to talk about leadership as well as religion in this aspect. This is the NFGM Live. Remember to leave your comments. I'll read them as soon as I can, and we'll have this conversation from wherever you are as well. Just recognizing people joining in from different platforms. I see different people joining in on Facebook. Asante sana for joining us. We do appreciate having you on this live show. I see Tony. Thank you very much. I know it's been a little bit rainy on your side today. Tony is our producer, so please shoot your questions and he'll be able to answer them. Thank you very much for joining us, Elizabeth Pratt, as well as Elijah Milaken and John Codonyo. Thank you very much for joining us. Please shoot your questions or comments and we'll be able to read them as they come. On this other side, we have people commenting on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. So please keep the comments coming and we'll really try our best to read them as they come. Now, adding back, going straight to the chat. Thank you very much for joining us again, Mr. Maur. We do appreciate. I'm sorry for the technical hitches. You come from a non-practicing community, and we have heard lots of stories of people saying that this is actually religious, but your community also practices Islam, but does not practice FGM. Please expound on to us that little aspect, please.
Thank you very much, and I must admit one first important issue in regard to the whole thing about FGM and Islam, for example. There is this assumption that is always made to partake that FGM is sanctioned by the Islamic faith. There are those who have a habit of equating it to a sunnah or like something sanctioned by the Prophet saying, which are normally referred to as hadith.
Yeah.
And which, in my understanding, in my knowledge, in my belief, there is nothing of that sort as sanctioned by the Islamic faith, be it in the Quran, which is the genesis of the laws of Islam, and in the hadith, which is the hadith is the sayings of the Prophet, which guide in the practice of the faith or in interpretation of the Quran.
Yeah.
And for example, FGM has to do with women. And in the Quran, we have the whole chapter of Surah Al-Maryam, which is dedicated to guidance of the way women are supposed to handle, to present themselves, and to guide their chastity.
Yeah.
And in that surah, there is no one single verse in the surah that has recommended or has guided or has encouraged that there should be any, the best way I can put it, there should be any deformation of a woman's body to make her compliant or to make her dutiful to God.
Yeah.
The God only wants that this woman is to cover herself. If this woman is divorced, this is how she has to handle the divorce.
Yeah.
If she's bereaved, this is how she has to handle the bereavement.
Yeah.
If she is in public, this is how she's supposed to dress. If she's married, this is how she's supposed to live with her husband. If she has children, and this is how she's supposed to win. And for how long she is supposed to win. God cannot be crazy to create a woman with the beauty in which he calls it a perfect creation, only to ask men or other women to come and start deforming this woman here on earth.
Yeah.
That would be very crazy.
Yeah.
It cannot work. And then, how is it that now, when you ask, why is it that our community, for example, does not practice FGM, and other communities who are professing Islam do practice FGM? I will say they are practicing it because it is influence of the culture and it has nothing to do with religion. It has absolutely nothing to do with the religion, because if it will be having any influence with the religion, and if somebody can say maybe it is the sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, first of all, you have to understand the Prophet Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was a man. So if he's a man and the Sunnah is following the example of the Prophet, so how was the Prophet subjected to FGM as a man? It's not possible. So that one is not Sunnah. Then again, was it done to his wives? It is not anywhere recorded or narrated that his wives were subjected to FGM.
Yeah.
Then, did the Prophet have daughters? Yes, of course. The Prophet Rasulullah had daughters, but they died at a young age. Were they subjected to that? We are not told if indeed they were subjected to FGM. So if you say that it is Sunnah, if you say that it emanates from the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu and under what doctrine, under what philosophy, under what guidance, and under what culture, that is crazy. It does not exist anywhere in Islam. Okay, fine. Let's get back again to Islam. And we are Africans, for example. I'm African. And so many people who have adopted Islam, they adopted it from the Arabs. The Prophet Muhammad was an Arab.
Sorry, we have some feedback. Yeah, go on.
Now, if he was an Arab, then what we are saying is simple.
Yeah.
This practice is not by the Arab.
All right. You have
So if the Arab, have also been married to an Arab woman, and this other woman did not have this kind of in her body. So
all right. I think I'll
when
request
others are
us to
saying that
move to the microphone as we go on this conversation. You just reduce your volume, your device volume.
yeah, I can notice there is an echo which is just cropped up.
All right. I'm also trying to listen. It's me and I'm complaining. All right. All right. Just take a short break. We'll try to fix that as well, and then we'll be back in a moment.
Tune in to the EndFGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EndFGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674. Tune in to the EndFGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EndFGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
right, thank you very much once again. Technical glitches, but we are really trying to have this conversation because it's very important. Tana River is where we are at today, different communities, and our political leader was talking to us about different issues in that regard. And we are talking about religion as well, because he comes from a community which doesn't practice FGM, yet they profess Islam. We've had different people talking about Islam and FGM, and there has been a campaign, and FGM is not FGM is not my religion. Sadia has been involved in that as well. So I'm just going to bring everyone back to the screen. Lots of internet issues and connection, but we are still striving on. Karibu once again. I really do appreciate having you here. Bonamao, you were speaking, and I think I just wanted to conclude that very fast on why your community, which is Islamic, mostly Islamic as well, still does not practice FGM yet. It's majorly Islam. If you can hear me.
Yeah, I was explaining.
Yeah.
I was to a point whereby it's saying that if it is about us practicing or allowing our women to practice FGM,
yeah,
definitely they will have borrowed that practice,
yeah,
from the Arabs,
yeah,
from whom the Prophet happens to be,
yeah,
a kinsman.
Yeah.
But you find 80% per se of Arabs are Muslims,
yeah,
and they do not practice FGM.
Yeah.
So when somebody says that this thing is coming or is a practice that is borrowed from Islam, and whereas the majority of Arabs are not practicing it,
Yeah.
how do you
Justify that?
Authoritatively change your argument? I mean, it does not make sense at all. So this one is a practice that is being done by people, and that they are doing it out of their own cultural violation.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they have to look for scapegoats, and some find a fine scapegoat is the religion. That indeed the religion is pro, whereas the religion of Islam is terribly silent, and even I will say, in my opinion, it is anti-FGM, because FGM is as good as deforming. If Islam per se is against women shredding their eyelashes, is against women removing, Islam is against women adding on their head fake hair, extension hairs. It is haram for a Muslim woman to move around with extension hair, because, for example, if they perform their conjugal rights, is supposed to take a wudu, and it's supposed to take a shower, supposed to cleanse themselves. So how do you clean fake hair? You cannot clean fake hair. So Islam, it is against any form of deformation. So how can it be against women wearing extension hair and it be pro women being deformed parts of their bodies? Does it mean that God was imperfect in the creation of a woman? Does it mean that God here has given the responsibility of a human being to continue or to cause some form of procreation on another human? That's not possible. God created the woman in the best format in which he believed is the best creation.
Yeah.
So if it is about somebody trying to use culture, or somebody trying to use Islam to justify a retrogressive culture, it does not have a foundation. It does not have a genesis, even in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam family. Yeah. So they can continue, whoever wants to do it, but should not equate it, or should not propagate that it is practicing or it is enforcing or practice that is pro-Islam. That is totally wrong.
All right, I think I'll cut you short on that as well. Men see it as a women's issue. Talking about that still, I know that there are many men who think that this is not a conversation that really matters to them. Why is that so as well? Because I know in Tana River, that also is an issue.
I beg your pardon?
Men do not own this campaign, or men do not see as this like FGM is their issue. Why is that so?
Well, you see, the mindset of people in the rural counties at times is not as the mindset of people in the urban county, in the urban setups. You find in the rural areas, people have a tendency of discussing so many issues, but more so behind the walls. And that doesn't mean that you have not owned up that they are for. It might be they are against. But sometimes we have this called cultural taboos, cultural inclinations. And sometimes you find that there are people who are afraid to come out in open to say what these people are doing is wrong.
Yeah.
In as much as you find they will not allow it to be practiced on themselves, or probably they might not have a control over their wives, but they will never have it done to their children.
Yeah.
That is it. And you see also, there are some cultural practices that sometimes are encouraged, or they find themselves dying a silent death. Now, at least, okay, fine, we have good leaders, we have guys and ladies of honor who will find, okay, fine, this thing is not a good practice, and will decide to come out in the forefront to fight it out, like Mwebia Sadia. She's been very vocal. She's, gone out of the way to make a lot of noise, to propagate against all this practice, you understand? But then again, we still have a problem that other than even the FGM, we also have attitudes. And we still have a generation which has been practicing this and is still with us in life. So you also have to understand there are some cultural practices that cannot die overnight. Yeah. Just do not wake up one morning and kill them and they're out. They have to take a time frame. And this particular one, I will tell you, it will die, and it is dying. The truth of the matter is, it is dying. Yeah. But the problem, it cannot die just like we have a problem with the corona. We don't know how it's going to be concluded dead, but it is going to be concluded dead.
All right.
That is the situation.
Thank you very much. Before I let you go, because I know we have a challenge with our connections, I just ask you one more question. We have had issues in regards to political leaders also owning this campaign. I know Sadia has talked about leaders in Tana River speaking against FGM, but from a perspective of a leader who has sought votes, why is it so challenging in regards for politicians to speak about FGM in such communities?
Well, the biggest problem we have in Tana River is simply because of one simple problem. Our politics in Tana River are very much tribal based. Yeah. It is not about competition of ideas. It is about competition of tribes. It is about us against them against us. And for politicians who are smart in tribal politics, they will have a tendency of treading carefully. They will not want to be seen to be stating or to being anti a practice which is being practiced by potential alliance partners or by potential voters. So they will rather, in as much as they don't believe in it, they don't agree with it, they are not interested with it, but rather than lose votes, they will be happier people continue practicing it. And they will rather continue people doing things that they like, so that they do not lose the opportunity that they are going for politically. That is where we have a challenge. And you see, when we have situations whereby people are going in politics not backed, not motivated, not interested in agendas for economic, socio-economic, and political transformation. It is motivated by our tribe to be on this seat, our tribe to be in power. So how do you expect such a politician or such a mindset to go and start being against a practice that is being practiced by the Sadia's community or another community? Knowing very well, this guy is accusing us of being pro FGM, then we are going to deny him the votes. Yeah. That is where the problem is.
Thank you very much. I wouldn't want to keep you still talking. I know it's a celebration day today, and I wouldn't like to hold you longer than this. But I had said that was the last question. But John just popped in regards to influence. We've heard that there are some leaders who would speak and people listen, and this pertains elected leaders as well as political leaders. There are I was having a conversation with someone else in regards to political leaders who speak out, and he said we need to look for political leaders as well as religious leaders who are highly respected in these communities. Would you please expound that before you go to Sadia? That's the last one I'm asking you. Sorry.
Okay, fine. No problem. You're most welcome.
Yeah.
And of course, in any socio-economic, even cultural transformation,
Yeah.
of course, you require leaders of repute. You require leaders or persons of wisdom, persons who attract respect from the community or the society. If you are to have these people involved in the campaign against this, of course, I will understand. There are always, people or human beings have a tendency to resist change.
Yeah.
People, human beings have a tendency, you don't switch them on and off like you will switch on electricity and a bulb. No, it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But if we have an aggressive campaign by persons who are respected by the society, I'm of the opinion and even anticipation that it will accelerate the change in behavior, the change in attitude. And then again, we also have an opportunity whereby majority of our people today are exposed to education. They are going to school. They're interacting with other communities.
Yeah.
And you see, like for example, in English, they have a saying which they say that you can never teach an old dog new tricks. So the campaign should not be focused on this old generation, which you feel that they are more comfortable with that. Because let me tell you, what is the secret behind the FGM? It is a scandal by all the women who have expired trying to control young women who they want to marry to old men. Because the problem might be not entirely so much about the FGM. We have a problem of young girls being married to very, very old men. This is where the problem is. The old man wants women who are controlled sexually, who are controlled age-wise, or rather than going to marry women of their own age group. For example, like why is it not the Pokomo community? Why the Pokomo community don't have this problem? You might wonder why. In the Pokomo culture, for example, it is wrong for a man to marry the woman who is equivalent to the daughter. It's just like a man cannot be allowed to marry a woman who is equivalent, is the age group of the mother or is the age group of the grandmother. Which village do you live when you are walking around with the age mate? Your grandmother's age mate is your grandmother. Your mother's age group is your mother. So if you're still running around chasing here, the small girls who are equally called the age group of your daughters, you become ostracized. And that's why you find there is no need to train a woman to be married to an old man. But then you find there are other cultures which are allowing. They are allowing young boys to marry old women or old women or young girls to be married by old men. So why they are doing all this deformation is because not for the benefit of the girl. They are doing it for the benefit of the old man who is to marry this. So if we can be able to come up with a campaign to discourage people from that old-fashioned habit, that for go on, it happened. It happened in Africa. It happened in Arabia. But look, these things have changed. We have to agree for a woman to thrive in a modern society, she has to be taken to school. She has to be educated. She has to be added value knowledge-wise. And then she has to be made strong academic-wise, technical-wise, or mechanical-wise. She has to be a woman, who does not get into life entirely to depend on a man to live. She has to depend on God to live. If she happens to be married, she has the responsibility to the husband. If she's not married, she does not need to be a beggar from men for her to live. So women have to be encouraged to go to school, have to be educated, have to be improved so that we have a prosperous society. We can never have a society whereby we have men having a lot of money or men controlling means of livelihood and women being weak so that they are subjugated and they become insubordinate to men. People have to understand Even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which the Sunnah, we all keep on bragging that we are following the Prophet of the Prophet, Son of the Prophet. The Prophet married Khadija bint Khuwaylid. This was a rich woman. And this rich woman is the woman who supported the Prophet even in his prophethood. For him to be accepted in Makkah, it was because he was associated with Khadija, a noble, wealthy, strong woman. So why today are we scared of this strong woman? I do not understand. It has to be maybe it's male chauvinism, it is idiocracy, it is backwardness, and that's why we want always for you to be able to be strong, you have to have a very weak woman. That is anti-Islam.
All right. I think I cut you short. Thank you very much for that very, very important insight. Sadi, I'll just come to you straight because I know there's lots of things to do after this. Daya Group doesn't cover the entire county adequately because it's just one organization. We are speaking about the importance of having more and more stakeholders. Now we have the corona pandemic. It's a big challenge among people in Kenya and also throughout the world. Has it affected you in regards to corona as well as an increase in FGM cases in Tana River as well? Sadi?
Yeah, okay, there is no cases of corona as of now reported from Tana River.
Yeah.
But again, when it comes to restrictions of movement, when it comes to the ban of public gatherings, all those things affect us. And when it comes to now, people are observing the directives of the government. You feel that the community does not follow the directives because they don't understand what this corona really means.
Yeah.
And for us, it's a big challenge because one, we cannot go hard to reach areas because of resources, limited resources. And again, when it comes to now our community, we feel that it's really hard because if today, for example, God forbid, corona hits Tana River, I'm very sure that it will actually increase, the rates will increase within a week because people here don't observe the government directives. When it comes to wearing of the masks, it's just around the town. But when you go to the villages, you will be surprised that some of them, in fact, feel that corona is just a flu. So it's a really big challenge. So we really need to now go to the interior, educate them, educate especially the women, because we know when it comes to now the issue of FGM, and I got a report that girls were cut in a village where now the cutter was hired. So I was feeling like I should go on this weekend to see if it is true, because sometimes what we lack is the evidence. Even reporting the cases becomes a challenge. Where the cases are reported from, there are no, let's say, police force there. They must take the victims or come and for them to come and report here. So it's a really big challenge. Again, when it comes to now the witnesses, the witnesses should be the survivors, the victims themselves. Imagine you being cut and now coming to the police station, held there as a witness. You have not committed any crime. You are just an innocent kid subjected to all this trauma. So in Tana River, we don't have child rescue centers and we don't have child protection units at the police station. So this is a very big challenge. Last year, December, we have 2 girls who are held there. Out of 7 girls who were cut, we managed to get only 2. And out of the 2 now, the 2, what happened is that, yes, they had the cutting already. They have to now stay at the police cells, which was very wrong because they are not criminals. But again, where will you take them? If you now take them back to home, you will lose the case due to lack of evidence, or they will be compromised. So what will happen? We had to look for a way now, lobbying for mattresses and bed sheets to take them to at least another room where they can be protected by the police, but not at the police cells.
Yeah.
So that was a very big challenge. And when we asked the court, where is the next child protection unit or rescue center where we can take the girls, it was either Garissa or Malindi. And these girls were supposed to go to school. You can imagine the kind of challenges we face when it comes to Tana River. Even our efforts to end FGM, most of the time we get challenges because of the restricted resources. Tana River is vast, as I've told you. We have the issues of floodings every now and then. We have the issues of droughts, hunger every now and then. So most of the NGOs or stakeholders who have the resources do not come to Tana River because of this it's a hardship area actually. So as Daya Women Group, we are survivors who feel that these girls should not go through the same. So we have really volunteered and committed that we really need to end FGM, not because of donor funding or waiting for anyone to support us, but because we feel it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It happened to us, but not to other girls. That's our commitment. And I really appreciate the global media campaign. And they have been supporting us at least to do now the radio campaigns, the media campaigns. So at least that's an appreciation to them. I really thank them for supporting us.
All right. Thank you very much, Sadia. I just want to bring this to a close, and I'll do it with this parting shot, and this will go to our political leader, and I'll just do this, Mr. Moore. One thing that you think will end FGM in Tana River, one thing that you say, if it's done, then there will be so much impact that FGM is going to be accelerated tenfold. Mr. Abdallah, I think you're muted. Sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Sorry, you are muted. Go ahead.
You're getting me?
Yes, we are.
Fine, thank you. I will tell you one thing, and you'll probably agree with me. You'll find in most societies where FGM is practiced, you got to look at the background. Two things are in existence. One is poverty, and another one is illiteracy. And I will tell you, for us to be able to kick out this retrogressive practice, it has to be about creating wealth. Even you find that even in the societies where tribal skirmishes, as a tribal antagonism, the reason is what? It is in primitive competition for resources. For example, as you find Mheshimiwa Sadia has just stated out in Tana River, we have two very severe challenges. We have the silly challenges for flooding, and we also have challenges for drought. But I will tell you, why do we have these challenges? Do we have these challenges because God hates us? Because all these are natural phenomena? No, it's not because that God hates us. It's because we are not waking up to the challenge to use our brains like other creatures. For example, if you take a very fine example, you will agree with me, Holland, Netherlands, is a country which 40% is reclaimed from the sea. At some point back in history, had various problems, particularly with flooding. What do? Did they go to God and ask God to come down on earth and do whatever they did? They did for them? No. They sat, thought, and came up with the best strategies and put them into practice, and they were able to recover land from the humanity, pushing the sea back, getting land, and now they have built on it farms, cities, towns, and what have you, rails, and all this kind of thing. So, in Tana River, we got also to change our mindset. We say, oh, it has to be done for us by the government. If you're not crying for the county government, we are crying to government, if you're not crying to the national government, we are crying to God. You see, once you die, you will be audited by God at the end of the day. You got to you have to have accountability. Yeah. God created you as the best creature, and then He gave you the brains. You got to go and account. What did you use your brains for? Did you use your brains just to fight others? Yeah. What value did you add to humanity? What value did you add to yourself? Yeah. And how are you able to surmount nature to be able to make life bearable for yourself? Because God created the tree, but you don't expect God to come down here and create furniture and build furniture for you. You are the one who is supposed to go cut that tree, and from the tree make a desk, make a chair, make a guitar, whatever you wish with that tree. Yeah. So for this FGM to go, one of the aspects that is going to actually annihilate and eradicate, cause the total eradication of this is in education, and it is in the creation of wealth. And it is in the Samaka sitting together as communities all together and coming up with the best strategies to put our people to work to surmount nature. The more people find themselves busy in progressive pursuits, initiatives, I will tell you, they will have no time. I mean, how can you come and start campaigning for FGM in Mombasa town, for example, or in Nairobi, or in London? You think people have time for that kind of nonsense? No, they won't. They have better things. They are enjoying their life. I mean, they are very far away. But when you go to the villages where there is a lot of idle minds, then you find that they have a lot of open space for retrogressive practices like those ones. So the more we work hard to improve the education of the people, the more we work hard to improve the well-being of the people, the more they will have less appetite for such habits. For example, the Arabs themselves. Before the advent of discovery of oil, the Arabs were warlike. Yeah. They will fight everywhere, every single opportunity you come up, they will fight. But go to Arabia today, do they have that appetite for fighting anymore? They don't. You find UAE is cool, Oman is cool, and unless these fights that are being propagated from other frontiers, but you find the more people become comfortable, the more people have less appetite for retrogressive practices. So we have a battle in our hand. We have an agenda in our heads that one way of fighting these bad practices is by making sure that we also lift the level of understanding of these people. We lift the level of ability, social-wise, economic-wise, political-wise. And my friend, the young generation, these girls, these boys who are coming up today, they will never agree to be subjected to that. And of course, that old generation, it is one generation you cannot wake up one morning and say because they are committing guns to the FGM, we kill them. And after all, they do it while hiding. But nature will also deal with them, because as we live by, you find that they will be squeezed out. You know, they are dying one after the other. But the better way to actually, the better way of making it this thing to subsidize is causing or making it appear to be a shameful practice. And it's just not a shameful practice. It is an insult to God. God knows so well He created woman in the nature in which He appreciated. And then you come in here and attempt to deform a woman in the name of saying that you practice a religion. That is an Islamic, if it is Islam, that is haram. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll cut you short. Thank you very much for that insight as well. Sadia, one thing that would be done if you had all the resources and all the time and everything that we would need, one thing that would be done that would end FGM in Tana River?
In Tana River, we saw the light when we started engaging the religious leaders. So for me, I really believe that if we engage the religious leaders, and when I say engaging the religious leaders, many people think that it's working with the religious leaders. No. As Mheshimiwa said, the young generation are the people now to celebrate the change of culture. So now, the change of the harmful cultures, that is. So now we really need to now lead the young generation to understand that FGM is not part of Islamic religion. That way we can really kill it. Because the young men who are supposed to marry these girls must understand why they must not be cut. You get it? And that one, we can do it through engaging the religious leaders to convince them and make them understand that, yes, FGM must end because it's not Islamic.
Wow, thank you very much. We bring this to a close now. Thank you very much for holding on for so long. Technical hitches, but we were able to resolve them and pass the message as well. We lost Osman, who is our clinical officer. So sorry, we also try to have this conversation again when we have more time. But thank you very much for joining us. One parting shot. How do people reach out to you, Sadia, as well as Daya, if they would like to reach out either to support or also just learn more about FGM and find ways to have better solutions in Tana River?
Okay, I am available through phone. That's it, 0772 and lady 0716 8 07 38 33. And when it comes to WhatsApp as well, and when it comes to Twitter at Sadia at SADEARH. You can get me via Twitter or FGM. Then you can also get me through Facebook, Sadia Sanga Hussein, Instagram, Sadia Hussein, email, I have to Sadia Hussein k@gmail.com and Sadia Sango @gmail.com. We have Daya Women Group at Daya Group
on Twitter.
On Twitter, Daya Group. We have a Gmail account, Daya Group @gmail.com, and we have on Facebook, Daya Women Group.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Mweshimiwa, how do people reach out to you? Probably your social media handles, if you have any.
Well, if I got you right, I will say that the simplest way to get to me is via my phone number.
Yeah, if that's okay, if you want to
via
share
WhatsApp and my Facebook account.
If you would like to share it as well in public.
My Facebook account is the same name, Maud Abdallah.
Maud Abdallah.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. We really do appreciate having you holding on for so long despite the technical hitches. We brought this to a close. Lots of educative and very insightful conversations here. I know that Tana River barely has 4G, mostly 3G, but we are very happy that you have tried your best and held on to the end of this conversation. We really do appreciate that. And we really do look forward to having another much more engaging and informative conversation with everyone who joined us today. So thank you very much. Asanteni sana. We do appreciate from the FGM live team. So I think we just bring this to a close now. Asanteni sana for joining us once again. I just have to say kwaheri and see you soon as well. All right, thank you very much. And to our listeners, thank you very much also for holding on.
Thank you.
Matilda says, also politicians who show continuity in FGM campaigns also politicians who show continuity in their FGM campaigns, not just someone speaking occasionally. I see. So she was talking about politicians being consistent in their FGM message. Sorry for the hitches, as I had said before. We're just bringing this to a close. But remember, this is the FGM Live. Comes to you every Monday to Friday from 5:30 p.m. East African time. Stay tuned next time. Today we were in Tana River County with Sadia Hussein, as well as Osman, Eid, as well as Maud Abdallah, who is also a political leader. Till tomorrow, stay safe and take care. Remember COVID-19 and make sure that you keep your friends, family as well safe. Asante sana. See you tomorrow.